Zach Dresch, the flu bug.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stand-up comedian extraordinary. What else do you like to do?
I love playing music. I'm a drummer.
Okay.
So I play in a few bands, a couple originals, all original bands, and then a couple cover bands. So I like to play pretty much whatever genre, and that's kind of music and comedy are my two passions, I guess you could say.
What have you been doing for longer?
Music. Longer.
Yeah.
Yep. Music about 6 or 7 years longer than stand-up. I started doing stand-up when I was 21, and I started playing in bands when I was 14. I would play 21-plus venues when I was 14 or 15 years old. So it was kind of an interesting thing to do.
So you've kind of been doing adult entertainment for a while, huh?
Yeah, since I wasn't even adult.
So what got you into stand-up comedy?
Well, I'd always loved it, and I had a couple friends that did it, and I was in college for theater, and we went to a theater festival in Lincoln, Nebraska in 2014, and they had an open mic night, and I'd thought about toying with the idea of doing stand-up at the open mic, and so everyone's like, yeah, put together a 5-minute set, just see what you think, and then I just wrote for a couple days straight. We were there for a week, and it was a Wednesday, and so I was just writing stuff that I could come up with, and my first crowd was like 300 people. So it's like a little pressure.
That's not bad at all that's a big crowd for stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Like locally, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it was a little overwhelming at the time, but
Right.
I ended up doing pretty well that first set. I had been kind of used to performing in front of a bunch of people doing plays in college, so it was like, I was used to
a lot of concerts too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you're kind of used to just being on the stage.
Yeah, but it was different flaunting my personality in front of everyone instead of just being the guy that fades in the backdrop.
Nothing to hide behind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just you up there front and center. So I didn't have drums to hide behind. I didn't have outfit or costume or makeup hiding.
Playing a character.
So. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now you got to be the character of Zach
100%.
Dresch.
Yeah.
So things are going good for you.
Yeah.
Slightly. I didn't want to talk about it too much. I just figured we'd get into the podcast and talk about it.
Yeah, for sure.
So you've been performing.
Yep.
I seen you were in Sioux City.
Yep. Last weekend, it was a lot of fun. It was like negative 20 out, but didn't matter. We still had a big crowd, so that was pretty cool. I've been kind of learning doing sets at home, whereas doing sets out of town is a different beast altogether. It's like these people don't know you, and so it's kind of a exercise in how can you write universal material that appeals to everyone.
Not relying on your friends to laugh for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge for me is I want to write stuff that everyone can laugh at, not just my close friends. And so it's one of those things like you see a lot of people at open mics. I'm not going to insult them because they're brave. They're going up there doing
trying.
5 minutes. They're trying. But they always do stuff that caters to the inside jokes that they and their friends do.
Right.
And so they're laughing, but all of us are like, this sucks. Like, no offense to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things. I've learned that throughout.
How long do your sets usually go?
It's 50 to an hour.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 50 minutes to an hour.
So
I did 56. I've been filming my sets lately. I did 56 in Sioux City. And Sioux Falls, I did 50, but that was because we had 2 shows that night, so I had to wrap it up pretty quick because we needed to make room for the people coming in for the next show. But yeah, Sioux City, I did 56. There's like little moments in the show where I'm like, I rushed that bit a little bit. Had I not rushed, I probably could have done well over an hour.
So that hour, that's the show limit, right? That's the stand-up hour that. Yeah. So when are you releasing this? You're taping it. When's it coming out?
Well, I've toyed with putting it on YouTube just to have it there, just to prove to people, hey, this is what I got. I'm doing an hour, so if people want to see how bookable I am, this is what I have. A lot of comics say don't put your sets on YouTube, or at least don't put a lot of them up on YouTube. But in the same token, I'm kind of like, I just want to show people what I got, so if people want to book me, they can just watch some of it online and say, oh, yeah, this guy's good. I'll book him for a show.
Is that still like a big, like the comedy stand-up hour that comics release? Is that still a big
Yeah, it's mainly
format?
Netflix. It's Netflix now.
Yeah.
I think Netflix, other streaming services are doing it too, but mainly Netflix is like the one where you feel like you've really made it as a comic, kind of a thing. There's another company called Dry Bar that films stand-up comedy sets in Utah professionally that they get circulated. It's where you have to do a clean hour, so you have to be clean. But that is a great tool for comics to prove to businesses I can be funny and be clean at the same time.
For like corporate
corporate bookings, like a lot of corporate bookings, that's the tough part. They'll pay a lot of money, but they have restrictions. So it's like, yeah, you can do 45, just don't swear or don't talk about politics or religion or don't talk about stuff like that. And so sometimes those gigs, you have to swallow your pride and just filter yourself and do them.
Go with the not the killer act, but the good enough, maybe.
Yeah. If I can get them to laugh a couple times, that's huge for me. I've actually had to do a set in front of children that were 5 to 10 years old a couple months ago. And that was actually kind of a fun show.
Were they brutal?
No. Because I knew it was going to be an interesting show. I was like, these kids are going to want the attention. So I'm going to give it to them and just what do you want to hear from me? What do you, I walked up to them like, what do you want to hear from me? Like
a lot of knock jokes.
Yeah.
And that type of thing?
Poop jokes, innocent fart jokes, that kind of thing. That's the stuff they like. So that was a lot of fun for me.
So you could go from kids to corporate to standard comedy clubs.
Yeah.
Very versatile.
That's the ideal thing for me as a comic.
Is it hard for you to get that super clean 45 minutes to an hour, or is it your act translate pretty well over to it?
It's half and half.
Yeah.
I really like challenging myself, and if I can crush a set doing clean, I feel really accomplished. So like if I have my safety nets and I do well, that's cool. But if I'm crushing doing clean material, that feels really good. So I'm like, oh, I've got something that I can use at any point, no matter the audience. And I feel like I've got a good tool in my arsenal.
So I guess let's just talk about bombing.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I always, like, nothing's perfect, right?
Right.
So, like, I used to be a personal trainer. I used to say, like, not every workout could be a home run. Like, the best baseball players have a horrible batting average if you look at just the numbers, right?
Yeah.
So, like, how often does a comic, not just specifically you, but, like, how often, I don't think people understand you got to bomb, right?
You have to fail a lot. Yeah.
Like, how often do you do, is that, like, something you try to work out all the really bomb-worthy stuff, or...
Yeah, it's all you hope that everything does well, obviously, but it's not all going to land. That's why I go to as many open mics as I possibly can, try that stuff out. Like
the 5-minute spots you're talking about.
Yeah, 5. Sometimes
just
it's 10
try
minutes.
that one little kind of like swing for the fences type situation.
Yeah, and if it lands, fuck yeah, I'm excited about that.
Right.
But if it doesn't, you're like, I have like a 5-night rule. If it's not working 5 nights in a row, I toss it. It's not gonna. If it's consistently not gonna work, I throw it out. Like,
makes sense. That makes sense. So how often do you have to throw out bits or just single jokes or whatever?
Every once in a while. I tend to, if I don't like parts of the bit, I will shorten it up because I love brevity. I love briefness. Like, if a joke doesn't work, hey, it was pretty short. You don't have to worry about it. It's like, whatever. It was a 30 seconds of the set. Like, I can move on and recover pretty well from it. So that kind of goes into play. I don't like, I'm trying to work on, I very much do a lot of one-liners in my sets, but I want to actually get to a point where I can tell some stories on stage. Because I feel like a lot of people, when they tell stories, you have to have a couple funny lines every other line, because that way people are not going to be paying attention if they don't listen.
Keep their attention going.
Yeah. So that's something I have to work on, is write a story that will be funny enough to tell on stage, but I just don't quite have a long story to tell just yet. It's like there's some, like Anthony Jeselnik's got this great bit about being in an abortion clinic for 15 minutes. That's a great bit. He's got joke after joke after joke in it. I don't have that kind of a bit yet where I want that kind of a bit, because that's kind of the bit you put on halfway through a set. We were like, okay, you kind of know what I do. I'm going to tell you a life experience story.
Right,
so,
right. You have you have them with you. They're on your side already.
Yeah.
Then you just kind of pull them in a little bit closer almost.
And do something different. And then you end with your strong, dumb jokes again. And then that's your show.
All the killers and all that.
I feel like that's an ideal set for me because that's what I do. Like, I feel like that's what is good. That's an ideal set. I have to work on stories. That's my goal right now, is getting people to stick with me the entire ride.
Really committing to that longer thing.
Right. Yeah.
So, what's your favorite part about being a stand-up comic?
The laughs.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple, but I mean, it's effective. Like, if they're laughing, that means a lot to me. That's huge. I'm starting to get more into crowd work, where you just kind of talk to the audience and just kind of see how they relate to something. Because I had a moment last weekend where it was one of the guys' birthdays in the front row, and so I said, "Let's all sing Happy Birthday," and then we start singing. I'm like, "That's enough. Shut up." Like,
nice. Yeah.
Too much. Like,
slightly rude, but in a friendly way.
Yeah, I'm just he's being encouraging. I'm like, I'm gonna give him some attention real quick, and then it's kind of how you do with hecklers. And hecklers are usually people that just want some attention real quick. Like, they feel like yelling something out.
Do you get a lot of that?
Not too often for me.
It's like the smaller. I feel like the smaller, like local type clubs, you probably get that a little bit less than like a bigger city where
Right.
Yeah.
I usually don't get hecklers. We get people that don't know when to be quiet. It's the people talking in the audience. And it's like, people are trying to hear what they have to say. Why aren't you being quiet right now?
Right.
It's not.
Yeah, you don't go to a stand-up comedy show to have a conversation with somebody else. Like,
save it for after the show. Straight up. Like, I'm not like, I didn't really. We had one last open mic that we did where people just were not stopping talking during the whole show. A couple of the comics just chewed them out, and it was hilarious. I'm not one of those guys that could really chew someone out for that. I'm just kind of like,
let's talk a little bit louder, maybe.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do. I got to handle that stuff kind of better, but I think each comic has their own battles they have to overcome and get better at.
So, do you see yourself traveling more? You see yourself doing more out-of-town shows and stuff like that?
Yeah. I'd like to, because recently I've been getting a lot more show offers, so it's been happening a lot more.
Is that something that you wait for offers to come in, or do you have to actively reach out to clubs? And
right now it's been more them reaching out to me.
Really?
I'm kind of waiting to see how COVID dies down before I start putting myself out there a little more, because I'm not sure who's going to be open quite yet.
Right.
So I'm kind of... Right now, my goal is to get my feet wet in the Midwest cities around the area and do headlining sets that way and keep practicing. Because like Watertown, we're going to do a show in Watertown, Del Rapids, kind of all around South Dakota, just getting some sets booked and stuff. And it helps being the flu bug in South Dakota, because that way I feel like I'm highly bookable, because people see you on the interstate. And it's like, oh,
people see you every day sometimes, It's like,
so I have that working at my advantage. So I love being a part of the flu bug campaign.
How'd you get that
straight
gig?
Up audition. That
Really?
was it. Yeah. Like,
how long have you been doing that for?
5 years now.
Really?
The first year was the campaign as to who will be the next flu bug, and so the guy that was the original, he moved away. He moved to Washington State. And so he's like, they're like, we got to find another flu bug. And so basically, he was teaching all these symptoms of the flu, all labeled on their sweatshirts, different things, how to be the next flu bug. And so they chose me in the campaign. And then for the first year, I was doing the campaign. And then the next year is when I officially became the next flu bug. So it's been 4 years. And this year, they've really been hitting hard, the advertisements and billboards. Like, I see one every few streets in Sioux Falls here. Is crazy.
Yeah, I definitely, like, where billboards are, there are flu bug billboards. Like, you're gonna see your picture up there.
At first I was like, gotta be honest, a little annoyed, because I'm like, people only know me for a guy that looks ill.
Right,
so like, it was kind of, it was like, oh, come on, like,
hell of a way to get famous. But at the same time, it's like, people know you now.
Yeah, it's a launching pad. And so I'm grateful that I have this launching pad that's funny enough to get me recognition, and it's gotten me a lot of gigs, so I'm pretty grateful for it.
Recording limits. I just got to restart the camera every once in a while.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
Well, at least you're not like one of these actors that are like I have gonorrhea or something like that.
Right.
That's I think that'd be rough.
Yeah. I talk about on stage how I'd rather, my friend gave me this joke and I'm like, yeah, like my friend Lee, he's like, you should talk about how it's weird how you're the face of influenza, but you should really be the spokesperson for type 2 diabetes. And I thought, like, what would that billboard look like? Like, I can't see my dick, and just like, what? At least I'm not that guy. You know?
So were they going to try to make you the COVID bug?
No.
Were they're not trying to go a different direction with that at all? No pivoting?
Couple of people,
the flu bug?
My friends that were in charge of the commercials are like, next year we'll probably go, this coming fall, they'll probably go hit a little harder at it because it won't be as serious of a, hopefully not as serious of a topic.
Right.
They wanted to kind of nod to it this year. In the ads, there's some nodding, but it's not obvious. Like, I wanted to be an evil twin to
I was going to say, yeah, we do something like that, or like you could be like the flu bug is victorious,
right.
Kind of a shitty thing, but like flu's going to keep going. Hopefully Corona dies, so we'll have you beating up like the coronavirus or something like that, or
right.
Yeah.
And they kept
there's opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah, the flu wasn't as talked about this year as obviously in the years past, but
I haven't really heard anything about the flu. I haven't heard about coronavirus lately either, though.
Yeah, it's dying down, I think, like, because more people are getting vaccinations and everything, and I think they're aiming to have as many vaccinations as humanly possible in America by July at the latest. So I've got a lot of concert tickets for the fall that hopefully don't get canceled, but we'll see what happens.
Do you want to get vaccinated?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. It's one that's like, I want to perform to as many people as possible, and I feel like vaccinating is the safest and most effective way to do it and get people out there again. And
do you get the flu shot every year?
Yeah.
Really? Do they make you do it for the flu bug campaign?
I do it just consciously. I'm like, it looks bad if I
don't.
Putting you
on the spot here,
Yeah. This year has been kind of weird, though. I've just been kind of like going through... I had COVID back in October.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it fucked me up a little bit. I lost my taste and smell. At the first, I was like, oh, this just feels like bad allergies. I'll be fine. Mm-hmm. And then it actually takes kind of a toll on your mental health a little bit, because I was exhausted for a couple months there, just all the time. I'd easily get tired and just occasionally have a mental breakdown and just be like, I got to be away from people right now. It's too much.
Yeah, they say that a lot of the effects kind of last a long time.
Yeah, my taste is back. My smell is not 100% yet.
Really?
So it's like it feels 60% back. But
you getting your energy back, or is that still kind of taking a long time to ramp back up to?
It's coming back. I think I'm pacing myself better than I used to. It was kind of a life's way of telling me to slow down a little bit, because I still do a lot. I'm a workaholic. Even during COVID, I was still doing a lot of shows. Like, I'm just like, I should rest. But yeah, when COVID happened in March of last year, I was like, this is life's way of saying I need to take a break for a little bit and reset. And so
I suppose being on stage is kind of like a workout almost, huh? It's like very active up there and using a lot of mental power, even just to
mental exercises,
keep everything in line. And do you do a lot of drumming on the music side right now, or are you more focused on stand up and
drumming is more behind the scenes right now?
Just kind of back burner type situation.
Back burner right now, because live music's not really happening at the moment. But like my main band, we're working on our new album right now, but we're not going to play shows till...
What's the name of the band?
We're called the Disarmed.
Disarmed. Yeah, okay, I knew that.
We play like 90s rock style. Like, that's what we're highly influenced by, so we kind of just do stuff like that. So we're working on our new album right now. Hopefully done sometime this year. And we kind of want to be that band where by the time that everything gets normal again, hopefully, that we're like, oh shit, we have a new album out. We're ahead of the game suckers. Like, what's up?
Oh yeah.
Like, album out on vinyl and all that. We want to go the whole...
Is that what I've had this discussion with a couple different people, like digital versus vinyl versus like CDs. Do you like the vinyl side? Are you going to try to push that more? Would you rather sell vinyl records or digital downloads? Like, fuck it, who cares?
If I can get people to like the album enough listening on streaming that they want to buy the vinyl, that's ideal for me because I'm a vinyl collector myself.
Do you think there's a different quality to the music on vinyl?
I think so. It just feels so much more official to have your music out on vinyl to me. So it's kind of one of those things like if I like an album enough, I will buy it on vinyl. That's kind of how I feel about albums in general. Like if I love it enough, I will buy it, find a way to buy it physically. So that's kind of how I've been. Or if I'm a big fan of a band, I'll probably buy every album they have if I can get a hold of it. So it's like Foo Fighters, Weezer, any of those bands, I will buy every record I can possibly find. And
there's a lot of people out there like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of asked the question, like, are vinyl records going out? Are they going to disappear? It's like, I think there's too many people that like this table, like nice wood table. They like the analog. They like the tactile. You know, it's like.
Yeah, I'm very much a vinyl champion. I love just collecting albums in a big giant big giant package. So
a whole bunch of milk crates of records.
Exactly. Yeah. I gotta find some crates. That would be great to organize, but I don't have like a shelf I could put vinyl in yet. Someday. So, do you see yourself going full time stand up one day? I'd love to.
Is it possible?
I'd love to. Yeah. If I can get to that point.
Are there anybody from this area that's done anything like that? Even Minneapolis or anything like that?
There are some people I think before COVID that were doing it full time in Minneapolis, like making it work and making it happen.
I think Omaha has a little bit bigger scene too, doesn't it?
I think so. Yeah, it's kind of all over the place. Omaha, Minneapolis, Chicago for sure. Yeah. I've thought about moving to a bigger city, but I'm still not quite sure yet. I kind of like the idea of helping create and make our scene bigger in Sioux Falls.
Yeah, I like that. That's something I've been talking to also on this podcast with people is just like we're Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
We're in Sioux Falls. So if we complain about the culture, we're complaining about our own selves. Like that's all there is to it. So if we want Sioux Falls to be better and to grow, it's all up to us.
I whenever people say there's nothing good here in this town, I just want to smack them upside the head and say you're not paying attention.
Yeah, and that's definitely not true. But I also like to just ask the question, like, what are you doing to change it then?
Right.
We're all here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like the idea of like, we're here right now. Let's try to make this scene the best scene that we can.
Yeah.
With what we got.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we are still very much growing, and I think that's the most exciting part about staying here.
Mm-hmm.
So we're far from done. So I think we still got a big way to go.
Yeah, I think we're just maybe 5 years behind the coasts.
Yeah.
What we got going on here. But we now, just like kind of what I'm trying to do with the podcast and even overall with our video business.
Right.
Like, you're the stand-up comedy scene, like you're gonna try to make that culture grow and do what you can, and we need that.
Yeah.
We need more people with that mentality. Like,
yeah, we're getting more people that are like, I think I should try stand-up. And we're like, yeah, you should. Try it out and see what happens. And we had a couple people just try out their first time, and they crushed it. It's like, you need to do this. It's like, yeah.
I definitely think we need to get Cham.
Yeah.
The roast of Cham, like,
so much.
He killed his own roast.
Yeah.
We definitely need to get him going. He's a working man now.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah.
Damn, lost him.
I know. I told him, like, after the roast, like, dude, you got to start doing it more, man. Like, don't underestimate how well you did at that roast, man.
He's the type, though. He would run himself into the ground writing jokes.
Yeah.
It's just that he'd run himself into the ground doing anything pretty much. So
yeah,
it's good that he has that 9 to 5 restriction to where he can just turn it off.
Right.
I think he needs that. So
yeah.
I don't want to ask you like how many, but are there a lot of comedians in Sioux Falls? Like, is there a pretty good group that's steady
Yeah.
Doing stuff?
There is very much a steady amount. There's about 20 to 30.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Consistently about 10 to 15 show up every week. Some of us take off a week because we're just kind of tired.
We're going to put you on the spot. The number one person people are sleeping on right now in Sioux Falls, right into this camera. Tell people who they should be looking at.
Comedian-wise?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're sleeping on him. Like, he's been widely kind of known, but Nathan Holtz.
All right.
Skylar Bulks, Luke Johnson. All of them are heavy hitters, honestly. They're all great. We have a growing female scene. We have a lot of female comics doing it now,
Man, all those names you named off just sound like comedians' names.
Yeah.
It just works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like perfect.
It's like Skylar was on the Roast to Champ, too. He crushed it, too, so that was great. And, yeah. Nate Holtz is kind of our godfather of our comedy scene. He probably hates being told that because he just does what he does, and he's great. He's been doing it for 10 years. He's done so much to keep our comedy scene growing that I'd like to help him be a part of just getting more people in. Like, hey, come join us. So,
oh yeah. All right, so let's keep going on local stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Comedy clubs in Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
There's no dedicated stand-up comedy clubs, right now?
There is one at Boss's. It was on Minnesota Avenue, but now that's the Pinball Room. And now we moved it to Boss's Pizzeria at the Ramada. So we have reserved the banquet hall room there now. So that's officially kind of where Boss's Comedy Club is now.
So that is like officially a comedy club then, huh?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. I know about that. I guess like there was one like over here on the west side of town. It wasn't here for very long, right?
Yes, we had Boss's on Minnesota Avenue for about 3 years. And before that, we had Wacko's for about 11 months on the east side of town.
Okay.
And then we had Rookies for a couple years there, which is now Sicky's Garage.
That's the one I was thinking of.
That was 2014, 2013, around that time period.
Okay.
And then before that, I think they had Fat Daddies and then Nitwits, and that was kind of before my time. Boonies did it for a while, which was Nutty's North, so it's kind of like...
Okay. So there's kind of a scene going on.
Yeah.
So you do a lot of your stuff in town at Boss's.
Yep.
Is there any other spots in town that you do sets at, or?
Certain breweries. That's a hard word to say. Breweries.
Well, when you've had as many beers as you had before you walked in here.
Yeah, I had a lot of 15%ers. Don't have the Imperial Stouts in February, man.
That comedy must pay well, man.
Yeah.
That shit ain't cheap.
Yeah, I get those expensive ones.
Woo.
Yeah.
Dessert beers.
Yeah. But
anybody who wants to send us a case,
please
send me a case. Send him a case. Shout out.
I like seltzers too. If you want something lighter,
I haven't hopped on the seltzer train at all.
It's okay.
I like the darkest, thickest beer I could get.
There you go.
Yeah.
So this is probably the perfect time of year for you.
Probably the most I don't really drink very much, so.
Yeah.
So.
I don't really that much either. I just like it if it's got some good taste to it, like a real good smooth taste. That's what I'm all about. So.
Yeah. I like one beer. I like to drink one beer or maybe two. You know what I mean?
Two if it's a celebratory night.
If I'm feeling, I don't know.
Oh, I feel you.
Anyway, so.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting old. Anyways.
No, I feel you, man. Wood Grain Brewery is a place that we host open mics at once a month.
Okay.
Covert Artisan Ales and Cellars, they do like sours and stuff like that. We do an open mic there once a month too. So we kind of cycle around that too because we kind of want to get the word out elsewhere in town.
The more people that see it, the better.
Yeah, especially downtown for sure.
Yeah. Are there any what are the chances of just a dedicated comedy club opening up?
Well, I think pretty much I'd love to see that happen. It's kind of one of those things we just do it a couple nights a week at Boss's, and that's kind of our that's our church. That's our home base.
That's the spot.
Yeah.
How big is it? You said you could seat?
It's like a banquet hall room. You could fit 250 people there.
So,
but with COVID, they're doing 100 people right now. So
that's still not bad though. If you get 100 people in there, it's a pretty good turnout.
Yeah, my headlining show there, I sold it out and it felt full, and also people felt safe, so that meant a lot. So that's cool.
Right. So is that kind of like the same energy when you're up there drumming compared to like the stand-up comedy? Like, do you get like the same? Cause I'm sure you get a certain vibe from the crowd, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it the same, or is it like kind of a completely different place that you got to go to for each one?
With drumming, I can kind of fade in and just enjoy myself, get in my own zone.
Like it's the same whether like you're there on stage in front of a whole bunch of people or just like in your garage,
right?
Kinda.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about stage presence.
Mm-hmm.
Although I do like to headbang a lot. That's my favorite aspect, even though it hurts the neck a lot. But
You got the good hair for it.
yeah, especially when it was bigger, it was like, holy crap. But stand up is one of those, like, I'm constantly just thinking, like the whole hour, just thinking, how can I look like I'm not thinking at all? That's the trick, is how can you act like you're not thinking, even though you are for 60 minutes. So I've had a few eureka nights where I'm like talking to the audience and I'm like, oh, that's the trick. Treat your written down, recited material like stuff you're conversing with the audience about. So it basically just feels like I'm having a conversation with 200 people.
Right.
So that was the eureka moment. I'm like, aha, it's not just reciting jokes, because that would be boring.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if the joke is funny, you have to find a way.
Give and a take.
Yeah, you have to find a way to get the audience to be on track with you. And if you're on track with them and they're on track with you, that's a great show. That's a successful show.
If you get 200 people, so you get one band of 4 people to sync up, right? That's like pretty cool. But you get 200 people to sync up on a joke, like...
That's pretty cool. That feels pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and I love, my favorite moments are when I'm accidentally in the moment and not telling a joke I already wrote, and just like, and I tell something and it just lands. I'm like, oh, that felt so good. So then I keep those and add it, like, especially when you record them, you're like, oh, that was good, I'm going to keep that, and then keep adding it to your shows.
So do you do that on a regular basis? Like record your show, go back and listen to it?
Yeah. Started to now, more recently especially, and it's helped.
Audio or video as well?
Both. Or so mainly video, so I just have video with the audio. And
that way you could kind of see as well.
I got an iPhone 12, so it's HD, like 256 gigs, so I can fit an hour's set on there, no problem. And also I'm getting used to watching myself on camera now, so I feel better. I used to be way more, I don't want to watch myself. No, fuck that. I don't want to see that. But now I'm like, okay.
How else are you going to get better?
Yeah, you won't get better if you don't watch.
You have to be just honest.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Confidence,
you got to be honest
and honest
with yourself,
yeah.
You know? So if you, like with anything really, if you want to get better at anything, you have to take an honest assessment of what you're doing right now. If you want to get better at that thing, it's
it's a balancing act of confidence and honesty. That's basically, in my eyes, the key to a successful comic. It's not just the jokes. It's the delivery too. It's everything all in one bundle. So if you got good jokes but you don't have a stage presence, you don't really got shit. Right. In my opinion.
Right.
I mean, you may be a great joke writer, but maybe that's all you should be. It's just a joke writer.
Right.
For comics, like, yeah.
Or even you could be saying the most simplest things, but if you got the right presence, it's like it seem much bigger than it would be if it was somebody else.
Yeah. It's like when people say, Zach, your jokes were bad, but I had good stage presence. That's like...
But you were listening closely.
Right. Yeah, it was a fucking awful joke, but it was fun, wasn't it?
I had you, though.
Yeah.
You're with me. So do you find that, so comedy's all about making people laugh, right?
Yeah.
Do you find that a lot of comedians are coming from, like, not of a happy as of a place, where maybe... You know, kind of the, like Joe Rogan always says, like, comedians are usually, like, the most fucked up people, basically. And that's, comedy is how they coped with that.
Yeah.
Like, do you find that you come across that? Like, I don't want you to put anybody on blast, but just as far as, like, people probably think that comedians are always, like, on. You know what I mean? And...
A lot of the times, a lot of comics suffer from depression, anxiety, you name it, mental health issues. I got some of those myself, but I find that I'm not creatively prolific when I'm depressed. I can't write when I'm sad.
Right.
I can only write in a place of happiness, because that's the stuff I'm excited to tell on stage. Why would I be excited to be on stage talking about how depressed I am? Some comics love it. Sometimes some comics, that's their
you could
SNL.
get a really twisted joke out of it. You know, maybe, but
well, more often than not,
you can't live in that spot.
No,
you know.
And I've basically been told over and over again. I used to rely on self-deprecation on stage. My friends go, "You got to get rid of that. It's not working. It's with the stuff you're telling, you have to be confident." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. I can't." Like, I'm learning each set. When a joke doesn't land, I should not acknowledge that it bombed. I do that all the time. Like, God, that was a bad joke, wasn't it? And I just like, no, just accept the joke, sit in that silence for a second, maybe smile, and then just move on from it. That's all you have to do. Something simple.
Right.
But yeah, I can't write sad sack shit. Like, I just can't do it. It's just.
I don't think most people are gonna really want to listen to that anyway. So it's probably a good thing.
Yeah. If you can do it well, great. But I just couldn't. So, like, especially when people told me your sad stuff doesn't work, people are not laughing. They're going, "Oh," like that has happened. Where it's like I've done a sad joke talking about how fat I was or something, and the audience goes, "Oh," I'm like, "It's a joke."
You don't want any pity laughs at all.
No,
never. It's like probably that's worse than bombing, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
That pity laugh.
So yeah, it's I have to write from a good place. I can't write from
Is it kind of like a therapy to you almost then? Do you feel like if you are feeling depressed that you could snap out of it by writing some comedy?
I think I could.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen as often as I want it to. I wasn't writing a whole lot last year when COVID was just starting. I didn't write much for about 6 months.
Oh, really?
Because we weren't doing shows, so it was like it doesn't really matter. I tried doing writing exercises, a lot of that stuff. I just wasn't motivated. I didn't care.
Try to do like more technical type stuff, kind of.
Yeah. Just do drum music stuff. Just sit at home, watch Netflix. Like, just do all that for a while there, and then shows kind of came back. I'm like, okay, I'm getting gig offers. I should probably start writing more. And so gradually, it's been a better experience writing more recently, since especially shows are happening, and it's like I have motivation to write. So it's like, okay, like I'm basically now, if I can't think of something off the top of my head, I will go through my notes from 5 years ago and see if there's any glimmer of a bit, any chance of a bit. Do
you write or do you type?
I type it up. Evernote is a great app.
Okay.
Or you just keep it, like, if you lose something, it's on this app, you're fine. It's there. So I used to use iPhone notes, but I think Evernote is more organizational. So you can just be like, headlining set this night, bam, bam, bam. Here's the list. I have a photographic memory, so I memorize my sets.
Really?
Just retain it, because I don't want to be a headlining comic and have a sheet of note paper on stage with me like, where was I? Hold on.
Yeah, like that's something that kind of blows my mind, how a comedian could keep a whole hour in order. Yeah. In time, you know what I mean? It's like basically like kind of like a drummer on set playing songs, keeping the heartbeat of the band. You know what I mean? It's like, that's crazy. So
I think some comics have that thing where they can just like, they have a whole bit and they just write one word and just have, it says like the boob bit or the butt bit or something like that. I'm curious like how Chappelle does it. Like I wonder if he just goes, all right, I think I have an idea what I'm going to do tonight, and I think I'm going to do that. Fuck it. And then I wonder if that's just how he does it. Like,
he's I think he's building a comedy club down in Texas or something like that.
That'd be cool.
I think so. I think he's partnering up with Joe Rogan.
Oh, there you go.
And building a comedy club down there.
That'd be cool to visit at some point.
So I'm curious about this photographic memory. How does that work? You could like look at like a paragraph of words and just recall that image in your brain?
Basic kind of. I name all my bits, like a couple of words that are giveaways, like, and then I put it in a set list form, like a track listing on a CD per se. And each bit, I just kind of, if there's a whole segment of this bit, like here's this joke, here's that joke, I'll just go like slash this bit mixed with this bit mixed with this bit, and then that's all one giant track for me. So I just make it track listings, and I just write it down, memorize it as I go through. And then once I get on stage, I've got what I've got prepped.
Kind of once you start flowing too, it just kind of rolls.
And when it comes to when I write bits, I write it down, and then I try and memorize the dialogue and allow for freedom. If there's things that work on stage where it's like I'm vibing with the crowd, then I'll note that when I watch the video later, that kind of thing. So it's just like if a joke's working, I name it a bit. Like it's my own song per se. I just call it, oh, bam, got it.
So it's definitely not you just topping up and like just winging it. Like you're precise. You got each thing written out. Something doesn't work, you scratch it, you replace it with something else. Like it's a kind of a never-ending process, huh?
Yeah, my goal with everything is to be prepped, but also allow flexibility to wing it too. But I like to be prepped. I don't like to go up on stage with stand-up and have nothing to offer. It's like I can't be one of those comics that just walks up, "What's up? I got nothing tonight, but hey."
I heard somebody, I don't even know who it was, but they're like, I fucking hate comedians who get on the stage when they're doing their thing. They're like, all right, what next? What do we talk about next? All right, like
I it's a bit of a pet peeve. I kind of just sit there and take it, but I'm like, I've done it. Like it's not intentionally.
I think it's like one thing if like Chris Rock does it, and one thing if like just any normal dude does it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do I got?
Like Chappelle probably gets away with that.
Yeah, it's like whatever, Chappelle.
Like
there's some times where I'm just like, why are you on stage right now if you don't have anything prepped? Like,
so who's your favorite comedian of all time?
Oh, Mitch Hedberg. Just that stoner delivery of his was just so good.
I'm not really familiar. Like I've heard the name quite a bit.
Yeah,
I'm not really familiar with his stuff though.
My top 5 probably Mitch Hedberg, John Mulaney, Dave Chappelle, Dimitri Martin, pretty dry, and Steve Martin. Those are my top 5.
All right.
Because Steve Martin made fun of stand-up comedy, and that's why I love it so much. Because he was just making fun of all the typical things a stand-up comic would do. Like he was. Just have to give me a second. I'm waiting for the drugs to take effect. And like,
yeah, like he retired, like kind of at the top, right? When he was kind of at the top.
Yeah, and then just started doing movies. That was it. And he kind of came back a couple years ago doing it. And I had the downside was Jim Gaffigan was in town, and so was Steve Martin and Martin Short the same night. And I had to choose between one or the other. My family got me Jim Gaffigan tickets, so I'm like, I guess I know where I'm going. But I was a little bummed because I'm like, I'm stoked I'm seeing Jim Gaffigan, but Steve Martin's like 70.
It's like
he's gonna die soon.
Yeah.
Jim Gaffigan's 45. Like he's got a while.
I would say Steve Martin is definitely much more of like a legend figure.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. Whereas Jim Gaffigan's a solid, popular comedian.
Definitely like top of the pile for sure.
Yeah, when you think of mainstream comics, he's up there.
No
like
doubt.
Top 10.
Yep.
For sure. Yep. So
everybody knows it. Like if you're a stand-up comedian and everybody knows you're doing all right.
You're doing pretty good. Yeah. If you know, Jim Gaffigan, Brian Regan. Yeah. Even Dane Cook, as much crap as he gets, people know who Dane Cook is.
Right. Was there one comedian that was like inspired you to decide to want to get up and do it, or was it just more your friends being like, yo, Zach, you're funny, you should do this?
It was kind of a mixture. Growing up, I would watch Comedy Central stand-up specials all the time. That was just what I watched. And I kind of just took all my influences and put it in one blender. It's like, even though Zach Galifianakis doesn't really do stand-up anymore, his stand-up was so funny. Like, once he did The Hangover, stand-up was pretty much done. But he was so good at stand-up. It was just so dry and so deadpan and just, like, it was so good. I don't know how to describe it. But Nick Swartzen, who's actually from Minneapolis, I love his stuff.
That's the one dude I knew from Minnesota that...
Yeah.
The name that I knew, yeah.
Yeah, I loved his stuff. I still do.
Been in a lot of really big movies and all that.
Yeah. Once he got kind of tight with Adam Sandler, it's like you're golden for a while. Like,
you kind of see that like almost like a rite of passage for comedians, like trying to get into a movie. Like,
yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like some do a movie or two and then just stick with stand up, and then some go to movies and quit stand up, and I'm just like, it's a loss. Like, that's such a big loss to me.
It's weird how like just that's happened to so many people, you know.
Yeah. Steve Martin, Zach Galifianakis, A lot of stand-up comics that end up on SNL or something just quit doing stand-up and just move on. But I like how Chris Rock did it, because it's like Chris Rock's like, you know what, I'll do movies, but stand-up's the main focus, so it's like stand-up is where he really belongs, I think.
He does a lot of writing and stuff, doesn't he?
Right.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. I mean, Seinfeld, I loved Seinfeld. Like, I hate to say this, but I think Seinfeld got too stale for me. Like, I'm just like, as legendary as the guy is, I've seen him live about 10 or 12 years ago, and I saw his most recent Netflix special, which came out 2 years ago. He was doing bits from that 10 years ago.
I've heard that. I've heard people say that. Like,
it's like, you're still doing that bit, man? Like,
he's probably evolve a little bit.
Yeah. Like, I love Seinfeld, but I'm just like, damn, dude, like, maybe he just didn't have a special for a long time, so he was saving it, and he thought it was too good, so it's just like, I gotta keep it. But I'm like, I feel like I had seen all those jokes before. And so, it was okay.
So how often do you come up with a fresh hour?
Oh, it's basically my hour right now is the best jokes I've done in the last 7 years. And so, if I ever record this hour that I'm doing, you pretty much have to start fresh at that point. You can't do the same shit. Yeah. So that's going to be one of those things that I got to be so focused on writing, like write every chance I get when I'm thinking of something. Like, that's got to be the thing.
How long do you think it would take you to get back to another hour?
Oh, forever. Probably another 7 years. I hope.
So I mean, if you recorded it, you know, you still use a few of your really good bits in there, and then start peppering in fresh stuff.
Yeah, I think recording it will help for sure. Like, I'll think of ideas and be like, oh, that was good, I'm going to keep that. But yeah, I can't imagine. I want to get to the point where my only job is stand-up, so I can actually focus on writing. Right. 100% of the time.
You got like full-time job.
Yeah, full-time job, so it's hard to focus. Like, you have to focus on the job.
And then it's hard to even have energy after that.
Yeah.
Like creative energy, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, especially the job I have is great, but it's very mentally, like, you have to learn a lot of stuff and memorize a lot of things, and so it's just like, oh. But, yeah.
A good thing you got a good memory, yeah?
Yeah, that helps, for sure.
All right, so we got a few minutes here. If people want to see Zach DRESCH live in concert, is there a set day or set days of the week where you are actually doing performances, or is it just kind of you guys schedule them as you go?
Wednesdays for sure are always my night that
At
I'm performing.
Boss's Comedy?
Yep, for their open mics. And Covert's Artisan Ales and Cellars, that's once a month. So that's this coming Thursday. So it's the third Thursday of every month. And then Woodgrain is the last Monday of every month. Those are kind of the guarantees for each month.
The open mics.
Yep, yep. And then headlining stuff just depends on where I'm at. So I'm in Del Rapids on the 27th at Papa's Pub and Eatery, really great restaurant. And I'll be in Gillette, Wyoming on Saturday at Legends, so that's going to be kind of fun. That's the farthest I've traveled out, I think.
You're getting out there a little ways.
Yeah. Just hope it's not crappy out. I'm sure it will be. But like,
I think it's supposed to get better, so hopefully it just keeps getting better.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's going to be... I think once spring hits, I hope to keep getting as many gigs as I possibly can. That's the goal. So,
do you have a website or anything like that?
Just Facebook right now. I need to work on a website and business cards.
Website, bro.
I know.
Get that website going. Then you'd have little clips here and there. Oh yeah.
I got to get the website. I got to get business cards. I got to get an OnlyFans.
Whoa. You could do anything on OnlyFans. It isn't only nudity.
Yeah. It's funny nudity.
It's funny nudity. Other than that, anything else? Anywhere else that people could find you at?
Twitter, I'm at Zach DRESCH, lowercase. I don't really do much on Twitter. On Instagram, I'm at ZaDRESCH, so without the CH. I don't know why I did that, but Instagram's like, can't have the full name. I'm like, fine. So, yeah, I post a lot on Instagram and Facebook. Those are my top two.
I'll put the description or the links in the description below.
Perfect. Yeah.
Twitter, I don't have Twitter, so I don't.
There you go.
I'll figure that out.
I feel like if I wrote good jokes every day, I'd put them on Twitter. Like a lot of comics put a good joke on Twitter, but like that's all it's worth to me. Twitter, I just can't do it. It's just so much crap thrown your way.
Reading a joke on Twitter and you delivering a joke on stage, different.
So different. Yeah. I have a Twitter just because I just wanted to fit in for a second, but I just kept it and I just share what I put on Instagram on Twitter. So I just call that good. So
good enough.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you go check out Zach. Go support local comedy because it's important.
You got to laugh.
You got to laugh. And Zach's a funny dude.
Oh, you're too kind, man.
And there's a lot of other funny people in Sioux Falls, too.
20 plus. So
20 plus.
You got to check them out.
Check it out.
If I can name them all from memory, I'm going to try right now.
Photographic memory test. Here we go.
All right, here we go. Nathan Holtz, Skylar Bulks, Luke Johnson, Jamie Thorney, Alex Anson, Ian Ryland Smith, Chris Fryer, William Conway, White Boy. His name's Eric Edwards, but he calls himself White Boy. Thomas Paul. Sarah King, Gina Kramer, Alicia Rain, Dan Bublitz. He's in Minneapolis now, but it kind of counts because he was here for a lot of it. Oh, Ryan Stoik, Andy Swan, Preston Williams, Andrew Kerner. Ooh, I got him. I got most of them.
We're at 18.
Ravel Johnson.
19.
I'm going to count Sioux City people because they come up all the time. Drake Strong, Josh Augustine, Logan Hardnett, Angel Bamer, Austin Peterson. Oh, I think I covered most of them. I feel so bad if there's like one or two that are left.
That was over 20. That was good. That was good.
There's at least like 2 or 3 more. Damn.
Comedy is not dead.
No, we got so many great comics. I'm not kidding you.
Go laugh, motherfuckers.
Go laugh. Do it now. And I'm sorry if I forgot you in the list. Kick my ass at the next show.
Text.
Yeah, kick my ass at the next show.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate it, man. I think I got everyone.